Hi, good evening, everyone. So, this brings us to the topic of project cost and control within project management. Let's understand this one by one. If you recall that, uh, let's do a quick recap of what we discussed. We have we have certain constraints in PM, which is scope, time, cost, known as triple constraints. Then you have quality, resource, communication, risk, procurement, stakeholder, and integration. And you have certain life cycle, which are initiating, planning, execution, monitoring and controlling, and closure. Now we are just this. Okay, I think the screen was not shared. So we discussed about PM project management certain constraints, which are scope, time, cost, quality, resource, communication, risk, procurement, stakeholder, and integration. Now we are going to discuss the costing part, project cost and control, and we discuss the phases: initiating, planning, execution, MNC, and closure. All right, so what is a project cost? As the theoretical aspect says, project cost is the summation of all the costs involved in successfully finishing a project from start to finish. Thus, project cost management is the process of planning for expenses and controlling the cost of a project. It includes identifying, estimating, and budgeting for all the costs associated with the project. And last is its primary goal is to ensure that your project is completed without any major budget cost overruns. So as you know that scope, time, and cost are known as triple constraints, and time and cost is a limited constraint, so you cannot have a lot of it. So we need to complete the project within time, within cost, and meeting all the scope. Let's understand this. Okay, this is project cost management. You have resource planning. The inputs of resource planning are WBS. WBS is work breakdown structure. You are dividing the complete project into a number of small things, number of small chunks, which are WBS. Then you have historical information, scope statement, resource pool, description, organization policies. Tools and techniques that you use are expert judgment, which comes through a lot of exposure and experience, alternatives identification, outputs are resource requirements. In cost estimating, the inputs are WBS, work breakdown structure again, resource requirements, resource rates, activity duration estimates, how much the activity will last, historical information, chart of accounts, tools and techniques used are analogous. If you recall, we have discussed this. Analogous estimation means similar kind of project which has been done in the past. You get an idea. So, for example, if person A, who is a project manager, is working on a SAP implementation project, a similar kind of SAP implementation project has has happened within the organization a couple of years back. So taking the data, taking the information from that old project to make it utilize in the new one is known as analogous estimation. Parametric estimation modeling means parameter based. For example, speed is equal to distance traveled upon time taken. If one person is able to complete the construction of 5 cross 5 dimension wall in one day, how many walls can be created if the same kind of efficiency level, expecting the same kind of efficiency, two guys are involved half of the day. So these kind of things, which wherein you have parameters, and all you need is just to put the data into the parameters and you'll get the result. This is very accurate. Bottom up estimation is the whole project is divided into the whole project is into for example, divided into WBSs 1, WBS 2, WBS 3, etc., and you sum it up. Because you are doing it from bottom towards up, hence it is known as bottom of estimation. If you are doing it from top to down, this is known as top down estimation. Okay, what we were discussing, yeah. And then computerized tools. Third is output, which is cost estimates, supporting details, cost management plan. Cost budgeting includes cost estimates, WBS, project schedule, and then you have tools and techniques, and then cost control have cost baselines, performance reports, change requests, cost management plan. Tools and techniques used are cost change control system, performance measurement, additional planning, computerized tools, revised cost estimates, budget updates, corrective actions, and estimated completion. So now let's understand them one by one. Okay, project cost estimates basic principles. Estimate is approximation, statement of the approximate projected cost for future works based on the present data and trends. You need to come to an estimation based on the existing tools and techniques. That is what estimation means. Project cost is the individual and collective elements within an estimate that will be used in the future to present, measure, and control a project budget. Quite fair. Cost estimating and pricing. Cost estimating, developing an approximation of the cost of the resources needed to complete the project activities, amount the organization will spend to provide the product or service. An estimate is not legally binding. Pricing, a business decision, how much the organization will quote for the product or service, depends on the competitive environment. The estimate is only one factor in the decision. A quotation is usually considered to be legally binding, and margin, the difference between price and cost. This is known as margin. So these are the ways based on which you have to estimate, or these are the things, artifacts that you need to do for cost estimating and pricing. Let's understand this pricing breakdown illustration, if you see the total cost of this cup of coffee is, wait, let's say it's 2 rupees. The total price is total cost plus profit. Cost is further divided into direct cost plus indirect cost plus profit is equal to price. Now, direct cost is further divided into direct material cost, direct labor cost plus projected overheads. If you see direct material cost plus direct labor cost plus projected overheads and plus general overheads and plus profit is equal to price. So what we are doing, we are further dividing the total cost part, where prime cost is equal to direct material cost plus direct labor cost. So let's say in this cup of coffee, the direct cost is material plus labor over here. Indirect cost is rent, admin fee, taxes, VAT, VAT. After all of this, plus the profit that you are going to charge to run your show or run your shop is 28.5 paisa. That is your profit. So if you see the total price, the price that you charge is inclusive of total cost plus profits. So that's how. So this is an example of a cup of coffee, but we do the same kind of calculation for multi-billion or billion-dollar projects. So this is, though it's not your job as a project manager, it would be done by the finance guy or a accountancy guy, but you need to have a high level understanding how this needs to be done. And another important aspect to be understood or to be understand is EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. That is also one of an important concept to understand. Okay, if you see cost breakdown structure, labor, which labor includes cost of people employed by the parent company, including travel, accommodation, meals, training, etc. Materials include incorporated or consumed. Overhead and administration costs include share cost and absorption. Plant and equipment includes used but not consumed. Subcontract, आपने किसको contract पे रखा, whom you have given the contract. Management is directly attributable to project management. Fees, taxation, VAT, income tax, indirect taxes, direct taxes, inflation, not always included but accepted in fixed price tenders. So when you create contracts, they are of different types. So the kind of contract that you are creating, you take inflation into consideration. And then contingency is, let's say if the project is not in good shape and you want some assistance or some support to take care of the unknown unknowns in risk management, that is known as contingency reserve. All right, so the next is project cost estimating components. Base time, base estimate is direct cost, indirect cost, time related cost, and allowances. Project contingencies, escalation, and market adjustment. Again, direct cost includes cost that can be quantified and can be related to or attached to a specific activity or identity. Indirect cost is cost that cannot be directly related or attached to a specific project activity but required to deliver the project. For example, your electricity of the shop, your photocopy machines, your coffee machines, etc. Time related costs that are time dependent, costs that are affected by time and are sensitive to shifts in schedule durations, and last is allowances, costs that cater for statistically known unforeseen elements or circumstances, which is known unknowns. This brings us to project contingency. Contingency is also referred to as management reserve. So if you recall, I explained that. Give me a second. Let me. So if you see, you have cost. Let's say I'm a program manager. I'm in fact, I am. So let's say I'm a program manager. I have given it to, let's say, to a person A, who is a project manager. Okay, the cost of the project is, let's say, to make calculation easy, let's say it is 100 units. I have allocated 100 units to person A, who is a project manager. Now I will not release all 100 to this person A. What I will do, I will keep 20 with me and would release 100 minus 20 is 80 to person A. Now person A, what is this, is this 20, which is this 20 is known as management reserve, because it is with management, which is me, which is myself in this case. Now person A, who have 80, let's say, to make it easy, let's say whichever currency you want to consider, let's say 80 crore INR. Out of 80, he will put, let's say, 10 CR separate and will not be used. 10 CR separate, which is known as contingency reserve. Which means what I'm going to do, what this person is going to do, he is going to make the budget out of 80 minus 10 is 70. So person A as a project manager will create the budget, or will create will plan all the project things out of 70 crores and not 80, because 10 is contingency reserve. 10 will be used only in case of unforeseen circumstances, risk management. Plus, risk majorly should are of four types: known, known problem, known solution, unknown problem, known solution, known problem but unknown solution, and unknown problem and unknown solution. So mostly contingency reserved for unknown problem, unknown solution. Rest, these three things, these three: known problem, known solution, unknown problem, known solution, and known problem and unknown solution, has to be taken care within this 70 in an ideal scenario. Now You understand this is the difference between management reserve and contingency reserve. For contingency reserve, person A, who's the project manager, because 10 is with him, he will just notify to the senior management, which in case is me, which is program manager, that some unforeseen circumstances have happened, and I'm going to use this 10 as contingency reserve for the project. However, let's say my writing is going so haywire. Now let's say this project is not even getting completed within, what do you call it, within 80 CR due to some unforeseen circumstances. This 10 CR is also consumed and project still needs some money. Then A will reach out to me that we need 20 more from management reserve. Now this is at my discretion. Now release of this 20 CR will be at the discretion of management. And before release, this 20 CR management will review the whole project health, or may interview the or may interview project manager or plus any other important team, core team, to understand why management reserve is needed. It's a big question mark, because if, let's say, if a project manager is not able to complete a work in 80 CR, what magic is expected out of those 20 CR? So this is the concern, and hence it is out of a lot of discussion or a lot of interview, the management will release this fund. It may so happen that there's a genuine case. In that case, management may decide to kill the project, because if it is not making sense to keep on working on that project, they may kill the project and save 20 CR, or would like to sell off that project, or would like to depending upon the condition, they may do something else. But that's how they will decide. And it may so happen that if there is no genuine case, then they may recommend changing the project manager. I think I am still not sharing my actual screen, so just give me a second. Okay, this is what I was referring to. I'll just repeat that once again. Okay, what I was explaining, that let's say there is person A who is a project manager. Program manager has allocated 100 crores for this project, but program manager will not release all the 100 to this project manager. He will keep 20 to himself and will release only 80. This 80 needs to be utilized by this project manager to complete the work. Now 20, which has been kept by the program manager, is known as management reserve, because he's part of top management, and what he has saved with himself is 20, and hence it is known as management reserve. Now with this 80, person A, who is the project manager, he will keep 10 aside, and this 10 which has been kept aside is known as contingency reserve. This will only be used at the time of unforeseen circumstances. So person A will budget to complete the project with 70. He will not include 10 into this, because 10 is only for risk. What are risk? Anything which can affect your project positively or negatively is a risk. Normally there would be very rare situations when you are having positive risk. Normally it will be negative risks, which are known as threats. Now risk management is of risk are of four types: known problem, known solution, unknown problem but known solutions, known problem but unknown solutions, and unknown problem and unknown solutions. What is known problem, known solution? Let's say for example, some of your critical team members may leave the organization at the time of their need. Let's say they are hired by or taken by the competitor. So it's a known problem and a known solution. Answer is keep keep few persons ready with that skill set within the organization, and be remain ready to hire new guys in a short period of time. So that is known problem, known solution. Unknown problem and known solution is all which is part of the assumption list. You assume that funds will be released after each phase of the project completion. That is, you assume. If that does not happen, in that case what you will do, you will do an escalation, or you will reach out to another bank, or you will reach out to other finances. So that all things which you assume in a best which you assume that will remain there are part of assumption list. Hence it is known as unknown problem and known solution. Known problem and unknown solution is your job to take care of it. You get a problem, try to find out a solution for that. That is known problem and known solution. So as a project manager, you have to be extremely ready and on toes with known problem and known solution, and known problem and unknown solutions. Your job is to identify problems and give the solution. Last is unknown problem and unknown solution, something you are not aware of, something that may happen, like pandemic, like some natural calamity. You are not aware of it, but then that may happen. So that is falls under the category of unknown problem and unknown solution. Management reserve, contingency reserve are majorly secured for risk, and out of those risks, majorly for assumption list. If you see, I'll just mark it. Assumptions, you assume that everything should be fine, and this which is uh, rare of the rare scenario, which is unknown problem and unknown solution, like pandemic. However, for this is your basic job: known problem, known solution. That's what your job is as a project manager. Known problem and unknown solution, that is also your job. If you got to know the problem, please find the solution and implement. So this is what contingency reserve and management reserve is about. Let's go back to our discussion. Unknown unknowns. I hope it is now clear. Not included for major scope changes, delays beyond what is reasonable, and redirection of the project can be calculated using deterministically or probabilistically. This is how you need to take care of the contingency reserve. Let's move forward. Project contingency, project management reserve. Three versions of estimate. Baseline amount communicated to project team, most likely. Budget amount owner is willing to spend, or price communicated to client. Estimate contingency for inaccuracies in estimate. Budget contingency provisions for current variances, and forecast contingency provision for future variances. So this needs to be taken care of in this way. Many projects goes on for several years. Yes, very much important to take escalation and market forces into account. So whenever you are doing budget calculations for projects, please consider that this project is going to last for 7 years. 7 years of inflation, 7 years of you know change in variables that needs to be considered. 7 years of hike being given to the internal employee. So this all needs to be considered before budgeting the project. Inflation pricing trends, as I just mentioned, and standard auditable method for applying to these factors. These are extremely important to take care of. Classes of estimate. Level 1 is screening, order of magnitude, thumb in the air, ballpark, which means you are making a guess. Level 2 studies, preliminary, comparative, and level 3 is budget, definitive, detailed, project controlled, quotations, and tender. This is level 3 is the place where you release contract. Level 3 is the place where you release tenders once everything has been finalized correctly. Okay, sources of estimating data. First, as you know, suppliers quotations, trade literature, technical literature, internet supplier websites, standard cost, activity based costing. You are just adding up the cost from top down or bottom up approach. Company historical data, previous projects, which is nothing but analogous estimation. Computer based on bill of materials, which is parametric estimation. So if I need to write something, it would be bottom up or top down estimation. This is analogous estimation, and this is parametric estimations. If you see in Microsoft project also, you have preset data, and if you include the numbers, you will get the results. So yeah. Okay, quality of estimates. Yes, it has to be of a refined quality, otherwise the purpose of the job will not be met. If the estimation is not of quality, or if there's a huge difference, 15-20%, I think 15-20% is also high. It should be less than 10 in your estimation. Your actual cost as opposed to what you have estimated should be somewhere between 8 to 10. 8 to 10. If it is beyond that, it should be a rare, it should be because of some rarest of the rare scenario. The quality of an estimate is determined by several factors as follows: project scope definition, associated risk and opportunities, maturity of the project execution strategy, accuracy of local cost data, and available historical data. Quality of estimates. With different levels of quality comes different ranges of uncertainty. Absolutely true. Generally, these uncertainty ranges are standardized against estimate class. Quotations improves the overall accuracy of the estimate. Do not overlook the value and even the need for supplier quotations and bids. Quotations are only as good as the scope and specifications on which they are based. If a scope changes, so will the quote. Yes, because all your quotes are based on the scope. If there is a scope change, there has to be a quotation change. Very much true. And as I mentioned earlier, when you are defining scope, it is extremely important that you very well define out of scope so that nothing comes as a surprise. Tips for estimations: match estimates to resource supplied, resource responsibility matrix, RAM. Map estimate to historical data, historical estimates and component databases. True. Check historical data with relevant project manager and expert interviews. This is important if you are taking the data of a similar kind of project done past in the organization. Please have a word with the project manager if he is still part of the organization. Otherwise, see the time difference, include or recalculate the inflation. Let's say this project has been done 5 years back. What kind of inflation has happened? Include all those factors. Currency change. Let's say this kind of project was part of the Middle East, and now you're based out of Asian country or European country. Do the recalibration of the inflation as well as the currency rate change. Point number 4 says do not try to fit changes under the original estimate change control methodologies. Yes, because some things can be out of the context. So please include, do not try to fix it or fit it into a standard format. Keep your ideas and emotions open to accept new kind of variations in this project. Point number 5 is clarify that estimate is an estimate, not reality risk assessment. Yes, estimate is an estimate. It should not be what do you call it? It should not be um, when you are doing estimations. Please mention it that it is an estimate subject to a lot of conditions and is valid for next 1 month or 2 months. It is not valid for, let's say, next year. Plus, there should be a plus minus of 5 to 10%. On a higher side, you can say 12% as well, to give you some breathing space. But then please notify this and please document this. Okay, tips for cost estimations. Provide the estimates as a range of possibilities rather than a single data point. Range estimating. Combine individual elements statistically. Document assumptions and validate them and validate these assumptions documentation. Allocate time for management and administration, 15% rule of thumb. Validate estimates against models and parametric computer-based models and spreadsheets. Build team trust and share rewards for estimating accurately, extrinsic rewards, and mention in project reports. Someone who has done a good job, please mention it correctly. So let's say here they have mentioned 15% rule of thumb. Cost phasing. Other key parts of the process of understanding the costs associated with the project are as follows. When is cash required? When will money be spent? When will the company see a return? And what is the company's exposure? These artifacts are need to be explained and proper timeline has to be provided. When is cash required? Let's say it's 100 crore project. 100 crore will not be released in one go. Definitely that's not the case. It should not be released like 50% at the time of signing of the contract and 50% later. No, it should be phase wise delivery. First phase will be delivered 15%, and first phase delivery is comprising of these artifacts, and the money spent should be used on the first phase only and not to any other project, and also not to any other part of the same project. By when the company will see a return, that has to be very much documented, otherwise it becomes a non-performing asset. What is the company's exposure, that has to be explained as well, so it has to be very well documented. All right, cost phasing. If you see, take a moment to reflect. If you see this purple graph, it would look like S shape, hence it is known as S curve. So let's, here if you see, when you start a project, here it is, okay, let's use some other color. Let's see, first is initiation phase. In initiation phase, what you're doing, you are just, you're in the process of ideation, and you are doing ideation based on needs assessment, feasibility study, business case, project charter, and stakeholder register. High level risk, high, I'll write it here, high level risk register plus assumption list is part of this. So you see, you are not doing actually anything on the field. This is all part of your ideation process, hence cost involved is less, because you are just paying salaries over here to the guys who are doing this, so hence it is low. Then comes planning phase. What you're doing in the planning phase, again, whatever ideas you were had, you were replicating it here in the planning phase using PPTs, Excel, dashboards, because you are still planning. Then comes initiation done, planning done. Then comes your execution phase. So you see here, initiation, the cost incurred was almost zero. As you go towards planning, it is increasing, because planning, you have hired more team, you have started hiring team, you have started hiring the developers, tester, UI UX designers, etc. If it is a real estate, you have started buying lands, you've started buying building team and stuff, so cost is increasing slowly. Execution phases where you have the maximum cost involved, because you're executing, everything on is happening here on real life, everything is happening here on the floor. If it is real estate, you have purchased the lands, there is crane, there is crusher, there is cement, bricks, etc, etc. If it is development, you have team who are developing codes, UI UX designers, testers, and you are delivering something, hence the major cost involvement is here, execution phase. And after that comes monitoring, controlling, which is also happening simultaneously, and then comes closure. Let's use this one, monitoring and controlling whatever you have No, that's not the good color. Let me use something else. Here comes monitoring and controlling, which is happening simultaneously with the execution phase. And here is closure. So your activities are slowing down. So if you see at the closure phase, the cost involvement is almost zero because it is about to close. Normally, you will always, this cost budgeting graph will always follow the S curve, hence S-shaped curve, hence it is known as S curve. It is also known as S curve. I hope this is clear. Okay, let's see this product life cycle. You have investment, you have income. So first, when you are investing a lot of money over here, you are purchasing land. Land is costly. You are hiring team, costly affair. So rate of investment is high, extremely high. And when you start building, you are still paying salaries. So you see here it's a maximum dip because you are paying salaries, you are have already hired team, you have purchased land, bricks, mortar, machines, etc. And now it starts development. The development starts from this place. You start building. So you see, as and when you start building, the rate of investment is going low, and this is the place where the project is done, project is closed, and it starts now operating. Operation starts. So let's say if it is a factory, you are constructing a factory of, let's say, cold drink. So here you purchase land, you set up machines, you set up the automation machines, boilers, etc. From this they start functioning. The project got closed, now they start functioning from here, and they start generating income. So you see, they start generating income, and that's how the graph will go. Now let's understand the, this is the project point of view. Now understand from the point of view of the cash flow. So initially cash flow is negative because you are doing nothing but investing whole lot of money into land purchase, uh, machines, boilers, automations, etc., etc. Result of cash flow start improving when you start operation. So when you start operation at this place, you see it's your return of cash flow starts improving from this place. This is the place break even wherein whole of your investments is equal to income. So this is the place where is no profit and no loss. This is the place where it is no profit and no loss. After this phase, they will start making profits. The machine or the factory will start making profits. So this is the resultant of cash flow graph. I hope it is clear. And this is an example of cost, time, and resources template. There could be many. I have just attached one which is very basic. CTR number, revision, PO reference number, title, start date, finish date, scope, inputs, deliverables, assumptions, what you assume, and resource requirements, hours and rates, and total CTR value. And here comes project control. I'm going to record this into a second video because this video is going to get too large. So let's break it up for now. Thank you.